Hi, guys. It's been a long time since I've posted a YouTube video. And, there's COVID 19 going on. That, for sure, there being COVID 19 has definitely made it so that my odd lifting efforts are delayed. Every gym here in Alberta, Canada, is closed indefinitely. I'm assuming until probably the beginning of July. I have been doing a lot of, I have some weights in my one-bedroom condo here, but because of this worldwide pandemic of coronavirus, COVID-19, I haven't been able to access heavy weights, and probably when I make my next YouTube videos, that will probably be in like August, in a few months. That's when I'll update you on my odd lifting. So the odd lifting is obviously postponed. No gyms in my home province here are open. I'm here to talk about my number 7 rapper, my number 7 MC, my number 7 hip-hop lyricist of all time. And that would be Diabolic. I guess, what groups is he in? He was associated with Immortal Techniques, kind of groups associated with Immortal Techniques, Viper Records at one point, which would probably be Rebel Arms and Stronghold. He's no longer a member of them. I'm not sure if he ever was, or he was maybe affiliate of them. He's no longer a member of them. He was a member of a group called Triple Optics. I don't know if they're formally a group, but it's a faction of his main crew. The one group has always been a crew, or one the one group or crew he's always been a consistent member of is the Dead Rabbits from not just Long Island, New York, but the greater New York City area. Dead Rabbits, that's his crew that he's apparently been a member of since 1997, around there. To get into Diabolic, there's going to be a lot of links from Wikipedia and notes in my comment section for this video. And I'll do this in a two-parter, so this video and the next video, but I'll upload the two parts all at the same time about Diabolic, giving his exact where he's from. He's from Long Island, New York State, USA, but I'll give more exact details about Diabolic in the comment section, citations from Wikipedia, and just my own notes. To get into him, Diabolic has been in the rap game. He's been in the hip hop game, if you will, since about 1997. He started out as an underground MC, and he still is. But he started out as an underground freestyle battle rapper in the greater New York City area, and probably in other larger metropolitan areas in the northeastern United States. Probably through his efforts in freestyle battle rap and just going to different underground hip-hop shows in the late 90s, he probably ran into Immortal Technique, and Immortal Technique started working with him and signed him to Viper Records, which was Immortal Technique's own label. There's a lot to get into here about Diabolic's relationship with Immortal Technique and with a few other rappers. But as I said, he was signed to Viper Records, Immortal Technique's underground label. His first very notable appearance was in 2001 from the album Revolutionary Volume 1. It was the hidden track on the very, very, very famous Immortal Technique track, Dance with the Devil. Diabolic absolutely stole the show on that in the hidden track for Dance with the Devil. And that's what started his career as he moved on from being kind of like maybe opening shows for Immortal Technique and doing freestyle battle raps freestyle rap battles to starting to record his own material. He moved out on his own after in 2001, after the guest verse on Dance with the Devil, the underground, not just in the United States, but internationally, took notice of him. He's immensely lyrically skilled, more so than Immortal Technique. And like I said, he stole the show from Immortal Technique on that hidden track from the track Dance with the Devil, which is probably Immortal Technique's most famous track. For over 10 years, Diabolic was on Viper Records and associated with Immortal Technique. During this time, Diabolic put out a few mixtapes. Foul Play mixtape was one. He put out a EP, Triple Optics EP, with some members of his crew, the Dead Rabbits, and I'll clarify a lot of this in the comment section of these two videos. The exact members that he did this with, but those were widespread online, internationally, for underground hip hop fans. 2010, well, I think about 2009, he released A Liar and a Thief EP. But again, I'll have to put in citations. That A Liar and a Thief EP was 2009. I'll find out exactly when it was, which was it was early versions and kind of some material that would appear about a year later on his very, very noticeable debut album from 2010, and that would be A Liar and a Thief. His 2010 debut studio album, A Liar and a Thief, put Diabolic on the map as a hip hop in the underground hip hop scene. I would just say from start to finish, the whole album's an underground classic. I'm gonna list in the comment section my favorite tracks on that album. He had a few notable guest features. Ill Bill on that album, Cannabis, Immortal Technique, a very notable feature on that album. Vinny Paz. So 2010's A Liar and a Thief, very, very, very notable ostentatious debut from Diabolic. Cemented him immediately as a force to be reckoned with internationally in the underground hip hop scene. He was already had a buzz internationally in the underground hip hop scene, and he multiplied that many times when he released his debut studio album in 2010. Of course, during this time, like I said, he was associated with Immortal Technique and other Viper Records artists. 2014. Now, in probably later 2013, more likely the first half of 2014 is when he had his falling out with Immortal Technique. Diabolic, and I'll put a link for this as well. I'm sure I can find it on YouTube. It's from the Murder Master music show, where Diabolic talks about how he felt Immortal Technique and Viper Records, which Immortal Technique owned, was not promoting him enough. He was relying on other artists and other friends of his in the underground hip-hop community, like members of Army of the Pharaohs and Demigods and things like that, to put material out or do collaborations with. And he said that everything on Viper Records moved at a snail's pace. So he, in the first half of 2014, right before his second studio album, Fighting Words, came out, he kind of had a falling out with Immortal Technique, left Viper Records, got rid of all association with Immortal Technique and Viper Records. And he already had his own small vanity label at the time, Warhorse Records, but it's not really that big of a label. Warhorse Records is very much a vanity label. As a commodity, Diabolic himself is much more well-known and valuable than his vanity label, Warhorse Records. And so he released, in 2014, he released Fighting Words. Again, another underground classic album from start to finish, the whole album. He had a very notable 2 features on one track, the track Game Time, with featuring Vinnie Paz of Jedi Mind Tricks and Army of the Pharaohs, and Sean Price, may he rest in heaven's paradise, of Boot Camp Click and Duck Down Records. That song was an underground classic, Game Time. He had a few other features. He had Self-Titled featured on that album, Fighting Words. He had R.A. the Rugged Man featured on it. A few other features. I'll clarify this in the citations in the comment section for these 2 videos. So Diabolic, his first 2 albums, 2010's A Liar and a 2010's A Liar and a Thief, and 2014's Fighting Words, both from start to finish underground classic hip-hop albums, were well received by underground hip-hop critics internationally. During this time, he associated with Vinnie Paz and other Army of the Pharaohs artists, and started doing features with them. And for a time, he was a member of Army of the Pharaohs. In 2016, I'm not really going to talk about his late 2011, early 2012 micro kind of beef with Tyler the Creator, because there's only a dialogue from Diabolic side to saying that he found Tyler the Creator to be overrated and corny, which sentiments which I agreed with then and still agree with now. And that added to that, Tyler the Creator is a bigger sellout now than he was 8-9 years ago. But in 2016 was a very noticeable beef, because this beef was with a very well-respected hip-hop legend, that being Talib Kweli, TK, as I'll refer to him, formerly of Black Star. And TK had some social media in the second half of 2015 and the first half of 2016, had some social media back and forth with Diabolic. TK claimed that Diabolic was secretly racist without any proof at all. TK Also claimed that Diabolic had white fragility, again without any proof at all. Of course, TK is he was at one time but from about 1997 to about 2010, he was a mainstream hip hop artist. He's kind of a legacy artist now. TK is, but Diabolic responded to this, and Diabolic dissed TK on a legendary diss from mid 2016, I believe, called Inequality. Inequality is the name of the diss, and he just absolutely obliterated Talib Kweli, TK. TK did respond with a very weak diss of his own. I'll post that again in the comments section, and of course I'll post Diabolic's diss and Inequality. Diabolic, and there'll be underground or old school hip hop fans that'll say Diabolic's a backpacker, a white boy, wannabe, and stuff like that. But no, just based on lyrics and skill, Diabolic absolutely destroyed TK, ruthlessly just obliterated him. If you compare their two disses, which makes him one of the greatest, in my opinion, hip hop lyricists of all time. He just destroyed TK without even really trying. I'll post the link in the comment section for the Diabolic's Talib Kweli diss Inequality. Yeah, so this caused even more tension. Him beefing with TK. Immortal Technique sided with TK. Probably because Immortal Technique wants to associate himself with an artist that's considered more famous and is more wealthy, even though Immortal Technique always claimed to be a socialist, which is kind of hypocritical to me. That's my reasoning behind that. I don't think Diabolic really, Diabolic didn't really need Immortal Technique. Diabolic, it's sad because that when they were during their friendship from, let's say, 1999 to mid 2000, their 15 years of friendship, they came up together and made some great music. But Immortal Technique, for some weird reason, sided with TK over Diabolic. And I just don't understand why Immortal Technique would do that. So that, to me, that's ridiculous. But on Immortal Technique's behalf, and I'm a big fan of Immortal Technique, but I just think that's ridiculous that he sided with Diabolic, who was his label mate and his good friend. He sided with TK over his label mate and good friend Diabolic, which is, if you know underground hip hop and you know about these artists, is just ridiculous. Just fucking laughable that he would side with TK. TK is obviously playing identity politics. TK himself, he's a good MC, TK, but he's a hipster. He's very materialistic. He wants to associate himself further with the mainstream, even though he's aging greatly and is considered a legacy artist. That TK, Talib Kweli, he has a lot of sellout qualities. Talib Kweli does, and that bugs me. Even though I respect his old work back in the day, be it like over 15 years ago to the early 90s when he first started out. But I just can't stand the guy now. Can't stand Talib now. Talib. I think that, in every respect, when it comes to lyricism, Diabolic is a better lyricist and hip hop MC, master of ceremonies than Talib Kweli, and also Immortal Technique. Although Immortal Technique is closer in skill to Diabolic than TK is, and both TK and Immortal Tech are in my top 50 MCs of all time, but they're not nowhere near as good as Diabolic. So, in summation, for the first part of this video, in summation, at least buy the 2010 album A Liar and a Thief and the 2014 album Fighting Words, both by Diabolic, of course. Don't buy them on some kind of streaming thing. Buy them in full digital format, so Diabolic gets more of the money, or buy them, better yet, on retro cassette, on a CD, or on vinyl, so he gets money instead of like getting a few pennies from streaming. Diabolic deserves it. He's a master of his craft of underground hip hop and overall of hip hop, and he's a student of the game. And I am going to, this is the end of part 1, and part 2 is coming right up. And I'll upload both these videos at the same time, so this is the end of part 1.